Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
Multiple calls for ambulance services have been made to a South Fargo hotel for people with COVID-19 needing help. As Valley News Team's Alexandra Kay found out, this is part of a temporary shelter program for vulnerable individuals to self-quarantine.
Tuesday night ambulances were seen outside a South Fargo hotel. Dispatch logs and scanner audio indicate a call for help for someone with COVID-19. Another call for help would be placed soon afterwards. A similar situation happened on Monday night. Sources tell Valley News Live that the hotel is one of several in 8 cities across the state, providing a place to stay for vulnerable individuals who are homeless and cannot safely stay at existing homeless shelters and domestic violence shelters because they have tested positive for COVID-19 or are awaiting results.
You and I, if we had to quarantine, could go to our homes to be safe, and these are individuals who either don't have a safe home to go to or don't have a home at all.
Stoltz explained that the statewide temporary shelter program has served over 35 people so far, many of whom are still at a shelter. Adding if needs grow, the program will be expanded.
During times of crisis is often when people who are the most vulnerable need the most support and help. And so as a community and as the state and as the Department of Human Services, we have an obligation to wrap around those individuals and support individuals experiencing vulnerability.
Stoltz says each participating shelter is cleaned properly to ensure there's no risk afterwards to those who might stay in the rooms now being used by COVID patients.
We, along with every business in the state, I feel like, is following CDC guidelines. And so we are using the CDC sanitation and cleaning guidelines and working with partners who can do the disinfecting and sanitation of every space that we're using to ensure that they are at the same standards they were pre-pandemic.
Others tied to the hospitality industry tell us that all facilities have stepped up cleaning efforts in light of COVID-19 to ensure that any and all risks are minimized. In Fargo, Alexandra Kay, Valley News Live.
Shelter location information will not be provided by the state due to health-related privacy concerns and safety considerations. Some participants are fleeing domestic violence. President Donald Trump today hosted executives from various industries to discuss plans to reopen the U.S. economy. The president has been soliciting advice from executives regarding the impact of the coronavirus on businesses, both small and large. When asked about a new normal, the president said he wants things to go back to the way they were 3 months ago.
We want to be back where we can we want it to be the way it was, because the way it was is the right way. We can't have somebody with a half a restaurant. You understand? He had 175 seats, now he's got half. That's not going to pay the rent.
The number of people who have tested positive for COVID-19 in North Dakota has now surpassed 1,000. State health officers say that there are 42 new cases today, bringing the total to 1,033. Today's new numbers include 20 in Cass County, 16 in Grand Forks County. The number of deaths attributed to the coronavirus in North Dakota remains at 19. Minnesota has reported 18 more deaths and 463 new positive cases. The total number of deaths now stands at 319. The number of cases, 4,644. Today's numbers reflect a push to ramp up testing, with the largest single-day increase in both cases and tests since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. State health officials say about 2,900 people were tested for the coronavirus in the past day, bringing the total of tests administered in the state and private labs to 66,744. Governor Tim Walz says the state will continue to gradually reopen its economy, and he'll provide more details on that tomorrow. GOP lawmakers are urging the governor to allow surgeries and procedures. They say the medical needs of tens of thousands of Minnesotans are being delayed. About a dozen people were involved in a 2-vehicle crash earlier this evening in West Fargo. Paramedics looked over a couple of the individuals at the crash site, which was in the southbound lane of 9th Street East in West Fargo. There are no details at this time on how serious any of the injuries were or what caused that crash. The Allaire Center in Grand Forks will be installing new turf for the 2020 football season. The turf will be made by Kiefer USA. That's the same company that made the turf for U.S. Bank Stadium, the Minnesota Vikings practice facility, as well as the football field at the University of Iowa. The new turf will always be set in location rather than rolling it in and out like they do now. This project is set to start in July, but it's been moved up due to the COVID-19 challenges. Bond was set today at $1 million for a Barnesville woman accused of killing a foster child in her care. 35-year-old Kelly Anderson is charged with second-degree murder. Authorities say the child was lifeless and bruised when he was brought to a Fargo emergency room last week. A Minnesota woman says she's upset her deceased mom got a stimulus check after her death last year. Sherry Blaine of Frazee, Minnesota, calls the check a waste of taxpayer dollars. An attached letter says send it back if the person is deceased, which Blaine says she plans to do. Part of the reason deceased people receive the checks is that it would have taken the Internal Revenue Service longer to send out the emergency funds if they had to remove people.
It just irritated me to no end because it is just so wasteful.
I don't think it was the legislative intent of the program to get checks out to deceased people. So really, you got to almost think of it as a clerical error.
The Treasury Secretary told the Wall Street Journal people should return the checks of dead relatives. The IRS is planning to issue guidance on what to do with that money. North Dakota schools have been online for 4 weeks due to the coronavirus pandemic, and Fargo's district officials say that they're constantly adapting to keep students engaged. Valley News Team's Katie Opperly found out what they're doing to continue providing quality education from a distance.
Fargo began online education April 1st due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and secondary teacher Jennifer Mastrid says their days continue to be filled with conference calls, video chats, and adapting to new technology.
We're working from 6 a.m. till midnight many days. But the biggest thing is we want to connect with those students. We know that this is a really challenging time for them. So we are doing everything we can to do those check-in connects at elementary. Every 3 days we rotate through conversations.
Mastrid says she is able to virtually connect with her students. However, it does present challenges.
I am a family and consumer science teacher, and so I am completely a hands-on classroom. My kids get their hands dirty, they're cooking, they're sewing, they're doing budgets and finance, and that's probably been the biggest challenge.
Although she can't replicate this hands-on experience, Mastrid says teachers are still virtually offering one-on-one direction as needed, and the focus continues to be on flexibility. The district also says the teachers who normally provide enrichment or remedial support to students are still active.
I believe that they are getting still the root of what they need. We really are focusing on standards-based grading. Here's the cool thing is kids are resilient. They are getting what they need. And when we meet again this fall, I know that our teachers are going to meet them where they're at.
Fargo Superintendent Rupak Gandhi says the school district is still holding its students accountable by tracking attendance and assignment completion. However, they are taking the current circumstances into consideration.
I think we are doing a great job of providing a quality education under these circumstances. I don't think that the education we're delivering right now should be compared to the education that we would provide prior to March 13th. And the reason is because the stressors of having a global pandemic and the restrictions that we have across our society, they impact all of us, and they impact all of us in a different way.
Dr. Gandhi says the district is continuing to adapt while keeping the students and staff safe. In Fargo, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
The Fargo school superintendent added that if you have concerns about your child's education, have a conversation with your teacher about the needs. Well, I'm proud to say that we hit our goal, and we have to say thanks to a lot of you. Our virtual food drive for the Great Plains Food Bank has reached $20,000 in donations yesterday. That's what we did yesterday. So now we have upped our goal to $30,000. We still have a few weeks to reach that, with your help, of course. Check out valleynewslive.com or the VNL News app and look for this button.